Happy fight day, everybody. How y'all doing today? So today is going to be the first installment of my new series that I would like to start doing. It is called Fight Day MMA Show. I am your host, Kayla Nero, and today we are going to be discussing UFC 251, the first of 3 cards that are going to be on the coveted Fight Island on Yas Island in Abu Dhabi. So to start off the show, I'm going to like to do my picks for the people who don't want to sit around and hang around and hear me break down the fights completely. I will also let you know when I see an upset potential. So my gamblers out there can know which fights that they should bet on in order to have the best chance of hitting it big. So therefore, starting with the early prelims, I have Davey Grant defeats Martin Day. Carlos Rosa defeating Vanessa Mello. Rolene Paiva defeating Zhalgas Zurmagomedov. Maxim Gresham defeating Marcin Tybura. Onto the prelims, I have Eryk Dos Santos defeating Roman Bagatov. Marwan Amirkhani defeating Danny Henry. Eryk Dos Santos defeating Muslim Salikov. Volkan Ozdemir defeating Jiri Prochazka. And now finally onto the main card, I have Amanda Ribas defeating Paige Van Zandt. Rose Namajunas defeating Jessica Andrade. Jose Aldo defeating Piotr Jan. Holloway defeating Alexander Volkanovski. And Kamaru Usman defeating Jorge Masvidal. So for my upsets for the night, I have Davey Grant defeating Martin Day. It's a plus 140 upset. For the Eryk Dos Santos over Muslim Salikov, that is a plus 110 upset. So I wouldn't say that's something that we're going to make a whole lot of money on if we're going to bet there. I don't know if that's potentially worth it. We have Jose Aldo defeating Piotr Jan. That's a plus 195 upset. And then Holloway defeating Volkanovski is a plus 190 upset. So those two would be your ones that if you're going to actually try and make some money tonight, those would be the 2 fights that I would recommend you putting money on. All right, so now that we're done with the picks, we're going to actually get into the details, and we're going to get into all the fights. We're going to discuss each fighter, a little bit about them, and then why I picked who I picked. So starting with the early prelims, which is going to be on tonight on ESPN Plus at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have Davey Grant, who's 11-4, versus Martin Day, who's 8-3. Davey Grant has notable wins over Marlon Vera and Grigory Popov. I think he looks to try and get a more defiant win after winning a split decision over Popov last November. While Martin Day is only in the second UFC fight, where he's currently 0-1 in the UFC and may be looking for a new start tonight. But I don't think he has enough to get over the submission expert that Davey Grant is. I feel like Davey Grant might get a submission win tonight. Next we have Karol Rosa, who is 12-3 versus Vanessa Mello, who is 10-7. Karol Rosa has notable wins over Lara Fritz and Procopio. Sorry, I'm getting new to the names. She's currently also 1-0 in the UFC. And looks to be a very promising contender. Vanessa Mello, this is her 3rd fight in the UFC, and she'll still be looking for her first win in the UFC. She's kind of struggling and is definitely on the cusp of potentially getting cut tonight if she doesn't get the win. So that's motivation and all, but I don't think she'll be able to get it done here tonight. And I think Karol Rosa takes the win tonight. Next I have Rolene Paiva versus Zhalgas Zurmagomedov. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I apologize to the man if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Don't kill me. But yeah, so for that fight here, I have Rolene Paiva has the notable win over Mark De La Rosa, which is his last reign. He's currently 1-2 in the UFC, but he does come from the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. And he's looking to keep up the momentum after the biggest win of his career last time. So I can see him staying on that track tonight. Zhalgas is making his UFC debut tonight, but he is riding a 4-fight win streak and only lost 1 out of his last 8. He is on a high streak, but I just don't feel like he's going to have what it takes tonight to get over the more experienced Rolene Paiva tonight. So I'll take Rolene Paiva to win that fight. Next I have Marcin Tybura versus Maxim Grishin. Marcin Tybura has notable wins over Andrei Arlovsky, Stefan Struve, and Sergey Spivak. Sergey Spivak being his most recent win. He looks to keep moving up the heavyweight ranks if he can take care of the new-coming Maxim Grishin tonight. But he has a tough task ahead of him. Maxim Grishin is currently on a 9-fight unbeaten streak and has only 1 loss in his last 21 fights. He's a smaller guy. I believe he normally fights at light heavyweight. But I think he makes a splash in the UFC as he makes his debut tonight. And I think he actually gets the finish over Marcin tonight. So now we're on to the prelims. These start at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, I believe, on actual ESPN. You can still watch them on ESPN Plus, obviously. So we have Leonardo Santos, who is 17-4-1, versus Roman Bogatov. Roman Bogatov is a 10-0 undefeated Russian. He's making his UFC debut tonight. But he is going against a very tough opponent. Leonardo Santos has notable wins over Kevin Lee, the Motown Phenom, and Stephen Ray, and is on a current 6-fight unbeaten streak in the UFC, and would look to continue that streak tonight, and I believe he does. I think Roman Bogatov really hasn't faced the type of competition that Leonardo has, and I feel like Leonardo has that experience factor that's going to give him the win tonight. For my next fight, I have Marwan Amirkhani versus Danny Henry. Marwan Amirkhani has a notable win over Jason Knight recently. I think it was his third most recent fight. If you don't know who Jason Knight is, this guy who went bare knuckles with Artem Lobov recently in the bare knuckle fighting championship. Crazy. I mean, he's a good jiu-jitsu guy as well. So Marwan is entering his 8th fight in the UFC, and he will look to shake off a tough loss to Shane Burgos recently, who just went a hell of a fight with Josh Emmett. I want to say it might have been the last card. It was the co-main or something like that. And he's fighting Danny Henry tonight. And Danny Henry is entering his 4th UFC fight. He will look to shake back after an early night loss against Dan Ige, who's up. Obviously, Dan Ige is a true contender, so can't knock him too hard for that loss. But he's had a long layoff. That was in the March of 2019, and I just don't think he'll have what it takes to get over Marwan tonight. So for my next fight, I have Eryk Dos Santos, who is 22-6, versus Muslim Salikov, who is 16-2. Dos Santos is a UFC veteran with notable wins over Max Griffin, Lyman Good, and Sean Strickland. He's won 8 out of his last 9 fights. Muslim Salikov is the king of Kung Fu. He's entering his 5th UFC fight and has really heavy hands. But this matchup should be a sleeper fight for the fight of the night pick. In my opinion, I think these two guys are going to go in there and brawl. And yeah, I think it's going to be a fight that's going to surprise a lot of people. But with no true competition in Muslim's career so far in the UFC, I'm going to have to take Dos Santos in this one to win the fight. So to continue for our feature prelim bout, we have Volkan Ozdemir versus Jiri Prokaska. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, honestly. Don't judge me. But we have Volkan Ozdemir, who has notable wins over Alir Latifi, Jimmy Manua, and Open St. Preux, which are really good light heavyweights. And Volkan was just on the cusp of a title not very long ago, so I mean we can't ever count Volkan out. But he's having a resurgence in his career after going on a 3-fight skid after losing to DC, and he looks to continue his momentum to reach the top of the light heavyweight division again, hopefully relatively soon, especially if he can get a win over a new-coming guy like this. So Jiri Prost, I'm just going to call him Jiri. So Jiri, he's coming in with a notable win over Fabio Maldonado, or as Rampage Jackson like to call him, Fabio Mabababo. If you don't know that reference, I'm sorry. But he's making his UFC debut, like I said, and he's super talented. But I feel like Ozdemir is just going to be too much and too overwhelming for him tonight. Ozdemir carries a lot of power. He's been working on his wrestling. He's gotten a lot better at it. I feel like Volkan takes the win tonight. So finally, we're on to our main card. So we have Amanda Ribas, who's 9-1, versus Paige Van Zant, who's 8-4 to start off the card. I mean, I'm sure everyone now probably knows who Paige Van Zant is. If you don't know much about Amanda Ribas, she is a savage. She's a up-and-coming young lady who is still relatively new to the sport. Let me not say that. She's relatively new to the UFC. She's only been in the UFC for 3 fights, but she's been amongst the top competition in those 3 fights. She's, like I said, undefeated in her first 3 fights here. She has a lot of momentum coming off a win over Ronda Marcos and Mackenzie Dern, who everyone was saying Mackenzie Dern was going to be the next big thing, which I mean she still can be, but I feel that I feel like she has a lot of momentum going into this fight. I think it'll be hard for Van Zant to deal with Ribas' pressure that she likes to put on people, so that'll be interesting to see how that fight goes. Paige Van Zant is flashy. She's coming off of a win over Rachel Ostovich, and she's had a lot of layoffs though recently, and that kind of makes me nervous. She's very injury prone. I feel like Ribas is the better fighter. Van Zandt is more flashy, but I feel like Ribas has more technical ability, and I feel like Ribas gets the win tonight over Van Zandt, and really takes the trajectory to potentially be fighting Valentina Shevchenko very soon for the flyweight title. For the next fight, we have a rematch of Jessica Andrade, who is 20-7, versus Rose Namajunas, who is 9-4. Jessica Andrade was the former strawweight champion who won the title from Rose Namajunas, and looks to prove again that she is one of the best strawweights in the world. Coming off of a fast loss, though, to Weili Zhang for the title, she would definitely be looking to make a statement to get back to her throne. She's coming off of a very quick loss. I want to say it was in 43 seconds to Weili Zhang in the first round of getting TKO'd, which is obviously hard to shake back from. I think she'll have a better fight tonight, but I think Rose is going to give her some trouble. So Rose is also a former strawweight champion. She defeated the strawweight queen, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, to gain her title and defended the belt once against Joanna. I felt Rose performed well before being spiked on her head by Andrade in their previous fight. And I feel like she'll come back motivated. And I think Pat Barry and Trevor Whitman have a very sharp. And I feel like they're going to be able to get the win tonight with Rose on top of Andrade. So for the next fight is our first title fight of the night. It's for the bantamweight title fight. We have Piotr Jan, who is 14-1, versus Jose Aldo, who is 28-6. Piotr Jan is undefeated in the UFC and on a tear through the bantamweight division. Piotr is definitely deserving of this title fight, even though I feel like he hasn't really fought the competition that a lot of people have to gain titles. He has notable wins over Jimmy Rivera, Uriah Faber, and John Dodson, but I feel that Aljamain Sterling, Corey Sandhagen, Marlon Moraes, like those guys are the top of the division, and he hasn't faced those guys. Jose Aldo is coming off of a loss to Marlon Moraes, which everyone that knows MMA thinks that Jose won the fight, which is the reason why he's getting the title shot. Jose is on a revenge tour. He's discussed it all week that he is wanting to keep the judges out of the equation tonight, so he's looking for a finish. And I believe that the King of Rio has a chance tonight to really pressure Jan, like Jan hasn't been pressured before. And I think Jose will actually finish him in the second or third round tonight to take the bantamweight title. And then hopefully Aljamain Sterling will get the next title shot. I think Aljo is really deserving of the spot over Jose, in my opinion. But it'll come for Aljo. So the next fight, the co-main, is Alexander Volkanovski, who is 21-1, versus Max Holloway, who is 21-5 for the featherweight title. Alexander Volkanovski is the current featherweight champion, who is undefeated in the UFC and beat Holloway in December for the featherweight title in a relatively close matchup. Volkanovski is hard to deal with. He's well-rounded, has a ton of power, and will need to work with his leg kicks as well as getting inside of Max's long, lanky body for the success again tonight. The same thing he did in his previous matchup. Well, with Max, you know what they say, the best is blessed, right? And I think the blessed era will resume tonight. I think Max was super competitive in their last fight, and I feel he didn't do enough to stop the leg attacks of Volkanovski, and that really hurt his movement, and it really showed to the judges a lot of it showed that Max was taking damage, and he really wasn't able to get the shots off like he wanted to due to the leg damage. But I feel like Max is going to come with a plan tonight to stop that leg damage from occurring, and he's going to really put on a masterclass of striking against Alexander tonight. And I think Max takes the win tonight and gets his belt back. And finally, for the main event. So originally this bout was scheduled to be Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns came off of a very fantastic win over Tyron Woodley. And was definitely slotted in place to fight for the title, but unfortunately Gilbert tested positive for COVID-19, and now we have an even more exciting fight, Kamaru Usman, who is 16-1, versus Jorge Masvidal, who is 35-13. This is for the welterweight title. Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare, looks to keep the belt tonight. Usman has been on a tear his entire time in the UFC, beating every contender you can think of. He's defeated Tyron Woodley for the title in March of last year and successfully defended his belt against Colby Covington, who many people argue was the best welterweight at the time. And that was in December. I think Usman's overwhelming pressure and wrestling abilities, as well as size and strength, are going to be a little bit too much for Masvidal tonight. Jorge Masvidal is the backyard fighting legend. He's coming off of a career resurgence he likes to call the resurrection, where he's baptizing fools. And I think he's going to try and look to put the Nigerian Nightmare to sleep tonight. He's coming off of a big win over Darren Till, Ben Askren, and Nate Diaz. And he will look to stay explosive and take the title tonight. However, I feel Masvidal, again, is just too small for Kamaru. And I think Kamaru is going to really bring the business to Jorge tonight. And really define himself as a true champion in that welterweight division. And then he'll have many guys that are up and coming in the welterweight division ready for him, such as Gilbert and guys such as that. So I'm going to play the devil's advocate here, though, just to kind of talk about it, just because I think it's a cool topic of discussion. I think if Jorge Masvidal does pull off the upset tonight, I don't think it will happen, but if it does, I want to know what you guys' thoughts would be, or if you guys would actually think that if Jorge Masvidal wins the title at welterweight, if Conor McGregor wouldn't come out of retirement to fight Jorge and try and get his third belt. That's just a topic I want y'all to think about, do some homework, and get back with me on that. But yeah, so guys, this is the first installment of my show. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. Obviously, I'm in my spare bedroom on my computer with a webcam, and yeah, this is more of a passion project for me. So this will be, I'll try to do most fight cards, obviously. This one's a big fight card, so obviously I wanted to get involved on this one. I really love the sport of MMA, and I really love the UFC. So I really want to get more involved and maybe put some content out there for you guys to view. So thank you if you're watching. Thank you for tuning in. If there's anyone who would like to potentially work alongside with me, maybe as a co-host, we can do maybe like a Skype type thing or something like that for interviews. If there's young and up and coming guys in the MMA scene that want to get on the show, I would be glad to have you on. If there's bigger guys that want to be on the show, obviously I'll definitely have you on. If there's any people that would be willing to sponsor the show potentially, feel free to contact me. I would love to help advertise for your company. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy the content. I really hope my fight picks give you a little bit of insight for tonight. Hopefully I can get this to the point where we can start having live sessions with this, and the live with the fans, with the people who are viewing the content, and actually have live conversations and talk with you guys potentially about different ideas or different things that you see for the fights for that particular card. Now I'm not set up with the correct equipment or the time to really do that, but yeah, I want to try and transition to something where it's live, where we can take maybe callers in, or even people can phone in or Skype in on a video call, and we can discuss everything MMA. So yeah, thank you guys for watching again. If you like it, drop a like. If you think this is somewhat good, feel free to share it. And yeah, thank y'all, and y'all have a good one.